Strait of Hormuz, 18 kilometers east of Keshem Island, 4:20 in the morning. 4 U.S. Navy destroyers from Carrier Strike Group 12 held a blockade line across the narrowest point of the strait, while 8 F/A-18 Super Hornets circled at 20,000 feet overhead. Along the Iranian coastline, 340 Iranian Revolutionary Guard naval forces manned 34 fast attack missile boats and waited for orders. What they did not know was that the U.S. Navy had 90 minutes to eliminate every one of those boats before Iranian reinforcements could reach the water. The Strait of Hormuz is 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point. Nearly 20% of the world's entire oil supply passes through it every single day. A U.S. presidential deadline had expired 6 hours earlier. Iran had publicly promised to shut the strait down. The U.S. Navy moved first to make sure that never happened. The 4 destroyers, USS Arleigh Burke, USS Cole, USS Nitze, and USS Bainbridge, positioned themselves in a line formation stretching 14 kilometers across the channel. Each ship carried SM-2 surface-to-air missiles, Phalanx CIWS close-in weapon systems, and RIM-116RAM launchers loaded and ready. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard had staged their 34 Paycap-class fast attack boats in 4 clusters along the northern and southern Iranian coastline. Each boat carried 2 C-802 anti-ship missiles and DSHK heavy machine guns mounted fore and aft. Iranian commanders believed the boat's speed, their shallow water positions, and the cover of darkness made a clean U.S. strike nearly impossible. The U.S. Navy plan divided forces into 4 elements. An alpha element was USS Arleigh Burke and USS Cole holding the center blockade line. Bravo element was USS Nitze and USS Bainbridge covering the southern flank. Charlie element was the 8-aircraft FA-18 Super Hornet strike package operating from USS George Washington. Delta element was 24 U.S. Navy SEALs in 3 Mark V Special Operations craft, tasked with boarding and capturing any Iranian boats that surrendered or went dead in the water. At 4:21 in the morning, the U.S. Navy opened the engagement. Alpha element acquired radar contact on 12 Iranian fast attack boats, leaving the northern cluster at high speed. USS Arleigh Burke's combat systems team locked on all 12 within 4 seconds. The first SM-2 left the forward vertical launch system and covered 11 kilometers in 18 seconds. It hit the lead Iranian boat dead center. The explosion split the hull in half. 2 seconds later, a second SM-2 destroyed the second boat. Iranian forces on the remaining 10 boats scattered at full throttle in separate directions. USS Cole acquired 6 of them and launched 6 RIM-116RAM missiles in rapid succession. 4 Iranian boats exploded within 30 seconds. The remaining 2 reversed course toward the coastline. Iranian radio traffic spiked immediately. Iranian commanders had believed the U.S. Navy would broadcast warnings before firing. No warnings came. By 4:25, the southern cluster of Iranian boats was moving. 14 fast attack boats accelerated out of Bandar Abbas Inlet in 2 tight columns. Bravo element, USS Nitze and USS Bainbridge, detected them on radar at 22 kilometers. USS Nitze launched 4 SM-2 missiles in a single salvo. All 4 found targets. One of 4 Iranian boats vanished from the radar screen in under 60 seconds. USS Bainbridge followed with 3 more SM-2 launches, 2 connected. 1 Iranian boat cut hard, and the missile passed 6 meters off its stern. The crew of that boat immediately fired a C-802 anti-ship missile at USS Nitze. The C-802 crossed 18 kilometers in 41 seconds. USS Nitze's Phalanx CIWS activated automatically. The 20mm rotary cannon fired 4,500 rounds per minute and shredded the incoming C-802 at 900 meters. No damage to the ship. At 4:31, Charlie element entered the fight. 8 FA-18. Super Hornet split into 2 flights of 4 aircraft. The first flight targeted the eastern Iranian boat cluster, 8 boats that had not yet moved. Each FA-18 carried 2 AGM-84 Harpoon anti-ship missiles. The lead aircraft released its first Harpoon at a standoff range of 60 kilometers. The missile flew 3 meters above the water and hit the largest Iranian boat in the cluster. The blast detonated the boat's own C-802 warheads. The secondary explosion destroyed 2 additional boats tied alongside it. In 4 minutes, 7 of the 8 boats in the eastern cluster were burning or sinking. 15 minutes into the operation, the western Iranian cluster launched a counterattack. 10 fast attack boats broke into open water at full throttle, splitting into 3 directions to make targeting harder. Alpha Element, USS Arleigh Burke, switched to its Mk-45 5-inch naval gun and engaged the 4 closest boats. The first round connected at 9 kilometers. The second round hit another at 11 kilometers. Iranian return fire from DSHK heavy machine guns fell short of USS Arleigh Burke by 400 meters. Iranian forces in the western cluster then fired 4 C-802 missiles simultaneously, all aimed at USS Cole. USS Cole's ERIM-116R-AM system engaged all 4. 3 were destroyed in flight. The 4th C-802 detonated 80 meters off USS Cole's port side. The blast wounded 6 U.S. Navy sailors and damaged the ship's forward radar array. USS Cole stayed in the fight. By 4:45, 22 of the 34 Iranian fast attack boats had been destroyed or disabled. 12 remained operational. Iranian commanders ordered all remaining boats into individual attack runs, a final swarm tactic. 5 boats turned directly for USS Arleigh Burke. 4 turned for USS Bainbridge. 3 turned toward the center of the blockade line. At 4:47, the second FA-18 flight rolled in on the 5 boats, charging USS Arleigh Burke. 2 harpoons hit the lead boat. 1 harpoon missed and impacted open water. An AIM-9X Sidewinder was fired at a boat that had deployed a smoke screen. The Sidewinder's infrared seeker locked onto the boat's engine heat through the smoke. Direct hit. USS Arleigh Burke's forward phalanx CIWS engaged the last Iranian boat at 1.2 kilometers. The cannon shredded its hull, and the boat stopped dead in the water. The 4 boats targeting USS Bainbridge launched all 8 remaining C-802 missiles in a single salvo at 4:49. USS Bainbridge and USS Nitze activated every defensive system simultaneously. The RIM-116 ram batteries on both ships fired 6 missiles each. 7 of the 8 incoming C-802 missiles were destroyed. 1 broke through. It hit USS Bainbridge on the port side at the waterline. The explosion tore a 3-meter hole in the hull. 2 U.S. Navy sailors were killed. 9 were wounded. USS Bainbridge began taking on water, but damage control teams sealed the breach within 11 minutes. The ship stayed in its position on the blockade line. 1 hour after the assault began, 30 of the 34 Iranian fast attack boats had been sunk or disabled. Delta Element, 24 U.S. Navy SEALs, moved forward in their 3 Mark V craft. 2 Iranian boats had surrendered. SEALs approached with M4A1, SOPMOD, 2 rifles, and Mk-18CQBR carbines ready. 23 Iranian Revolutionary Guard sailors were taken into custody without resistance. 2 boats still burning were sunk with Carl Gustav M3 recoilless rifle rounds to stop them from drifting into the shipping lane. By 5 o'clock in the morning, the blockade line was fully secure. The last 4 active Iranian boats had turned back toward the coastline at top speed. Charlie Element tracked all 4 and released 4 remaining Harpoon missiles. 3 boats were hit within 40 seconds. The 4th ran aground on a sandbar 600 meters from the Iranian shore. Its crew of 8 abandoned it and swam in. Iranian shore batteries at Keshem Island then fired 6 land-based C-802 missiles at the U.S. destroyer line. USS George Washington's E-2D Hawkeye aircraft detected all 6 launches instantly. 6 SM-6 missiles left USS Arleigh Burke and USS Cole within seconds. All 6 Iranian missiles were intercepted before they reached 15 kilometers from the line. At 5:18 in the morning, 18 Iranian fast patrol boat reinforcements departed Bandar Abbas at full speed, 55 kilometers from the blockade line. Our Charlie element had rearmed aboard USS George Washington in 19 minutes. 6 Fa-18 Super Hornets launched with fresh Harpoon loads and intercepted the reinforcement column 38 kilometers out. 11 of the 18 boats were hit. The remaining 7 turned back toward port. The engagement was finished. The U.S. Navy destroyed 30 Iranian fast attack missile boats outright. 4 were captured or disabled. 158 Iranian Revolutionary Guard naval forces were killed. 64 were wounded. 23 were taken prisoner. 2 U.S. Navy sailors were killed aboard USS Bainbridge. 15 were wounded across 3 ships. USS Bainbridge sustained hull damage valued at $14 million. Iranian losses totaled over $820 million in naval assets, eliminated in less than 58 minutes. Iranian commanders had built their strategy around speed, numbers, and shallow water that large U.S. warships could not safely enter. What they did not have was a defense against SM-2 missiles, Phalanx CIWS, and 8 Harpoon-loaded Fa-18S working every angle at once. The strait Iran promised to close stayed open. The U.S. Navy made sure of that before sunrise.